Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. I know it's been a while, this is the reason. He has driven me mad. So this video is a massive one. So I'm going to do this video a bit differently. I'm going to do VO while it's playing, but in between sort of each technique and each section, I'm going to come back to me and explain what I'm going to do, because this is quite a complex painting, and I'll tell you why. The idea was a painting about John Lennon and his song Imagine. It was to get John's face. Obviously, when you think of John's Imagine era, there is that famous one that's on the cover. The other thing to the commission, it wanted to be like quite a simple painting, but have elements of pop, elements of geometricness in it, and also the lyrics. Now the lyrics for Imagine were going to be in the background. This painting is made up of freehand acrylic, freehand ink, spray paint, stencils, there's a bit of projection in there. There's nearly every technique I've ever learned. Painting is huge. It's 70 inches by 65 inches and it's being shipped to America. I'm in England, if you can't tell from the accent. Shipping to America is very expensive, so this one wanted to be rolled. That brings in its own issues when you roll a paintings. There's a lot of material you can't use. You can't reuse any household paint. You can't use certain spray paints. Certain inks you can't use as well because they'll crack as it's rolled, or they just won't like being moved. That limited the paint palette as in material. So the painting you're going to see is John Lennon, Imagine. Humongous painting commission, and I hope you enjoy it. But I'll be back in a second to introduce the next bit. So this bit you're going to see is the mapping out, measuring to be very precise, and because there's geometric shapes in this, I had to make sure they were in the right position. To do this, I had the rough sketch on the computer, and then I blew it up to the size I would have it on the canvas, and therefore I could scale it up. So every centimetre on the canvas, on the computer, would have been an inch on the canvas, and so on. So that's how I figured out where I wanted these bits.
So here we go. This is not much to say on this bit. I'm just mapping out the canvas. The canvas has been undercoated or primed in gesso, and I'm spray painting it with some grey paint. Exciting.
Now the second bit you're going to see right now is the bit which probably most of you love seeing. It's the stencil bit. I didn't film cutting the stencils. I probably should have done, but there's so many stencil cutting videos on my channel, you can go and see them. The stencils, of course, it was so big I had to cut it down into sections and somehow get enough surface area to spray it on, which was difficult because it's not quite as wide as my studio, but it's getting there. So this is the stencil part.
So now we are going to do the stencils. This is the bit that everybody loves. I love cutting the stencils, so therapeutic, and I love spraying them. As you can see, we put this vertical. I've always used, well actually I'm going to use all full cans of paint, because that way there's going to be no like half spray. Sometimes, see how I'm holding the can vertical, if you imagine a little tube, it won't come out if it's nearly empty because the paint runs to the other end. Is that interesting? Who knows? So I'm spraying it grey. I think this is grey blue middle, or middle grey blue. I've just weighed it down with various things from around the house, mainly tile samples. That's what you get if you renovate a house. You get lots and lots of tile samples. And as I take it off, I'm just filling in the gaps with a spray can with a pretty sure like a small nozzle on, just to fill it all in. And look, looks good, looks good. Good base for John, and well, you know, here we go. Here's the next one. The next one, of course, is the next jump up or jump down in tonal range. So this one is going to a dark grey. I can't remember what colour this is. It's either called dark grey middle or it's granite. Don't remember which one it was. As you can see, this is much more detailed, much more precise, and much more illustrative. And then I'm going in with the paint and doing the same thing as I did before. The stencils made from card. What else can I say about it? You know, if you've watched any of my videos, you've probably heard me bang on about stencils so much you're sick and tired of hearing it. So let's talk about Johnny Boy, shall we? It's John Lennon. He is one of my heroes, if not my top hero. Probably top 5, definitely. Such a cool face, and the glasses, obviously, and the hair. It's all so iconic. Painting it is just a dream because there's so many connotations already associated with it. You're just bringing to life what people already know and love. Pure postmodernism. Oh, here we go. I'm doing the light there, the highlight. So if you see here, this is the white paint, just a pure white, which is going in there to make him all pop. And as it comes off, go, look, there he is. Look at John. He looks so cool.
Oh, wasn't that an exciting bit? Now the third part is going in and adding some black and definition. So here I'm adding black to give me where I want things, the structure, where the eyes will be, blah, 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 but only very, very rough.
For those of you who are very, very dedicated to watching my videos, you'll notice I didn't spray a black layer. I always spray a black layer. That's the layer that gives you everything, but not this time. This time I didn't want to spray the black layer because for two reasons. One, I didn't want it to be all flat. Sometimes if you use all spray paint, the paints can look very flat. So, and I also wanted to gauge the depth of the black myself. Instead of relying on a stencil, because obviously when you got stencils you can't see them together until you spray them. This time I didn't want to take that risk, so I went in with paint. This is all acrylic. I think it's Pebeo. It's Pebeo, I believe, or PBO. And then I'm using these Posca pens, which are full of Molotov ink for the nerds out there. This is just the base level black stuff, as I said before. This is just figuring out roughly where things are going to go. None of this is going to be fully rendered, just making sure that the nose, the mouth, the eyes are all roughly where they should be.
The next bit is the masking bit. This is a bit I don't show much in videos because it's not that exciting, but when on this scale it is. In theory, what I'm having to do now is mask off John's face so I can spray around him. Obviously I could have done it all the way around, sprayed first and put John over, but I like to have the pure grey. So this is the masking part.
This is such a fun process. It's not, it takes forever. So this is Frogtape, which is like a painter's tape for making sharp lines. It's quite malleable and bendable. What I do is I stick it on there and try to bend it around the curves if I can. If I can't, I just stick it on there and get a Stanley knife in there or a scalpel and chop around the... oops, there goes the camera. This camera went through hell on this video, and this is the last video I ever filmed. And then I'm just masking off his face with a load of card. Use a scalpel to cut around the tape if you want to have those little... See how it juts out there on his hair, little spike? That's just me cutting around the tape, but very gently. Don't go through the canvas. That'd be insane. And then I'm spraying it with this amazing colour called Petrol, which, oh, I love this colour. Isn't it so cool? What a beautiful colour.
Now we're on to the squares. So in the background, the commission was having geometric squares. I guess you could see kind of Mondrian-esque, only very little, a bit Kandinsky, I think, with the colours. And this again was just getting my measurements exactly right, masking off and giving a good old spray. Now the masking off of the squares, the measuring in that bit, kind of disappeared because the camera fell off the tripod and broke. Say a prayer for my camera. He's done me like 6 years.
So I'm spraying in the rectangles. I said squares a lot there, didn't I? It's not a square, it's a rectangle. I believe this blue is tulip blue light or tulip blue dark. Can't quite remember which one it was. Again, I've usually just set square. And this is current, I think the colour's called. I used to get set square to go across, or a T-square to go across, to get these all nice and square, straight, that's the word. I can't remember what this orange is called. What's this orange called? I'm looking on my board. I can't remember what it's called. Harbour orange, something like that. It's a really good orange. Hold on, let me have a look. We'll be back in a minute. Dare orange it's called. I just got up, looked on my colour board and found it. Professional. Dare orange, beautiful colour, isn't it? I love that colour. And then just taking off tape. Look at that, the contrast between that dare orange and that petrol. Oh, so beautiful. Now the drips. Here I was drawing the drips in, trying to plan where they're going to go, and then I actually just got the spray paint and flooded that area and it dripped down. Unfortunately, I didn't film that bit. That again, when that was a bit that happened when the camera broke. But you can get the idea. I just drip paint.
And now the reveal. Was that too creepy?
And now we are taking off all of this to see if any spray paint got on John. It didn't. Spoilers. It worked perfectly. This always works perfectly. I much prefer to do it flat because then you've got gravity on your side. But there you go. Look at that. Look how it balances. Look at the grey and those oranges. Oh, that orange. I love that orange so much. Spray paint can give you that. It can give you that really vibrant sort of satin look that other paints can't do. And it's flat. Oh, so beautiful. And there you go. Oh, look how excited I am. Oh, it's good.
And now the arty bit where I add all the detail, where I add all the rendering, where I get everything nice and popping and balancing and the detail and the this is the bit where you can really show off. This is the flurry bit, the prestige, the egotistical bit.
Now, of course, this is the bit where I get in there with the Posca pen and I really render everything fully. Make sure you can see there the drips have been sprayed in there now. Sorry, I missed that bit. That's probably a good bit to watch as well. Oh, well, anyway. So I'm going back in with the Posca pen, the black, and redefining all the black. See, before I just put it roughly, and now I'm going in and making it proper, thicken up the eyebrows, doing some what are they called? eyelashes, that's it, getting the eyelashes defined, adding all the depth, more and more black, and then going in with some grey, white, what have you, to bring the highlights. So getting it all balanced. This is something you couldn't do at the beginning because I needed the colours behind him so I could figure out what was going to balance. And you'll see in a minute I change a big chunk of it in a minute because it doesn't quite balance enough. I'm adding a lot of white. Again, I'm giving this white another coat of white acrylic, because at this point, again, the white was too flat and I didn't like it, so I wanted that white to pop more, to have more of a punch. So I went over the white spray paint with the white acrylic. And here I go in and I put all these little slashes and things, but it looks wrong. So now I'm taking all that and I'm making it more simple. I realised at this point it got way too complicated. The hair's just too bitty. So I've got my black and I'm going back in and taking out most of that. As you can see, it's becoming less and less bitty, taking out most of those grey swipes I did, which was meant to represent the hair, and making it more blocky, because this is a pop art. Pop art doesn't have all the detail, it just accentuates the detail, and the shadow is a very important bit. So sometimes balancing means removing.
The next step, the lyrics in the background in John Lennon's handwriting. So that was quite difficult. Luckily I found a font which was John Lennon's handwriting, wrote the lyrics out, figured out where they would be. Then I had to figure out where to get on there. I was initially going to use stencils, that didn't work. I was initially going to like grid it, that would have been a nightmare, so I thought, hang on, I'll just project it. So I managed to find a really knackered old projector, and hopefully you can see me writing the lyrics. I mean, this is fun, but here we go. It's a new shot for me.
So yeah, here it is. So I managed to mock up the lyrics on the computer with roughly where John's head would be, project it, which was difficult because the studio's nowhere near long enough for something this size, and then I've gone over, I think I'm using a Posca pen again, a very, very thin one, and just tracing the words. That's it really, nothing too complicated. This was the best way I could think of doing it, and actually I think it turned out to be the best way. Because I could see what it's going to look like. Then I'm going back over it with a much thicker Posca pen, and then after that I go over it with white paint, but I didn't put that in here because you don't want to see me painting white on white. This is very important because I was using a font that I downloaded. Don't know if I said that. I downloaded a John Lennon font. I didn't want every letter to be the same, so going over it in hand meant I could change how the E's look. They still look like John's handwriting, but I'm changing them slightly so it looks less uniform, because it would look silly if it's all the same. And it worked really, really bloody well. I love it.
And now we're on to the final step. Whoa, give yourself a round of applause if you've made it this far. The final step really is just tidying up, rendering, adding shadow, adding depth of definition, getting the boxes good, and just touching up. Touching up is a bit which you don't really see on photographs. You can only see it when you get up close to the painting. You'll see there's like a bit of black that's not thick enough. Anyway, so this is the last bit. This is the touching up. Oh, that sounded weird.
That's a lovely red shirt I'm wearing. The touch-ups, the bits that make it perfect. I went around some of the words that cross his face with black to make them pop out a bit more, especially ones on the chin. You can just about see me doing that. And this shot just sums up the painting perfectly. Look at the size of it and how the colours are balancing, that blue and the orange and the greys and the purple. It's all working in harmony. I can't tell you how happy I am with this painting. It was a very difficult one to do, just because of the size really, but it's come out great, and you know, it's John Lennon, so it's good.
So there it is. I hope you enjoyed this mammoth video. If you got to the end, thank you. It's much appreciated that you managed to stick in there. I hope you enjoyed the video. So please leave me any comments. Let me know about the techniques I use, what you thought of the painting, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy this formatting, if you want less of me, more of me, because I don't know how much of me you really want. Anyway, that's it from me. Take care and bye!